Hey guys, what's going on? Jenko Sports here, bringing you the first episode of Season 2 in our Addicted to Addicks series. If you've been here since day one, thank you for all your support. Things are about to get very interesting very quickly. If you're new, things are about to get very interesting very quickly, I suppose. But yeah, if you're new, then basically what happened last year was we had a great run, started off alright, went like 10 games unbeaten. And very rapidly it turned into a scrap for relegation, which we survived. But it only took us about 35 games before we definitely secured the fact we won't be relegated, which left a lot to be desired for Season 2, because now the board wants us to get a nice mid-table finish, which is a lot easier said than done when half your players are going back to Standard Liege. But we lose this man. Finally, that is the most rewarding screenshot I've ever seen in my life. Seriously, I'm pretty sure I got a semi when that popped up on my screen. It was so good, I had to look at it twice. Nacho has gone. He's finally gone. It was a waste of time. I've never seen such a waste man in Football Manager before. It was every game was like a 5.4 rating or a red card or, I don't know, him swinging someone around by their earlobes. He's an absolute nightmare. He's the equivalent of getting diarrhea after a kebab. I mean, yeah, sure, his name meant we could make a lot of Nacho puns, but after the first 4 games, that got a bit tired out, really, didn't it? He is literally the Football Manager equivalent of Brussels sprouts. Absolutely fucking useless. But either way, he's gone now, and we do have a bit of a hole to fill. Now, obviously, there were some big standout players during last year, including Chris Solly, Igor Vetekele, Goodmanson, to name but a few. This man as well was one of them, but Standard Liege don't really want to let him go for the price that we can afford. 15 million. Yeah, somehow my transfer budget of 246k isn't going to be enough for that, is it? But we do get ourselves another year with Julian Desart. It's basically like childminding, isn't it? What's happened here is that, you know, you've got a rich family next door who've gone out to work for the day. They've gone out, I don't know, to get the London Underground and to work at the Shard. While basically their little kid, Julian Desart, who's only 12, bless him, he's got nowhere to be. He doesn't have to be at school because he's too rich. So they bump him off to the next door neighbours who live off baked beans and toast, and they go, look after him for a few days and we'll give you a tin of spam at the end of it. But I'm not going to complain. He was definitely one of the highlights of 2014. Easily one of the best players. He started out as a centre mid, of course, just in rotation alongside Johnny Jackson and Johnny Boyens. And what ended up happening was that we moved him into an attacking centre mid role, and he just seemed to absolutely explode. Now, there's a man I was thinking about signing in, but under the stern recommendation of Dave the Trekkatista, I thought I'd better not replicate what happens in real life. But yeah, either way, Julian Desart back for another year. Probably one of the best bits of news I've got all pre-season, because he's an absolute tank. His stats are going through the roof recently. So to keep him, I mean, look, Derby want Chris Solly. It's not happening. He wants to leave. We actually lure Chris Solly away from his agent. I think we do the same with Goodmanson as well, which is pretty good. But you look at the starting 11 that we had at the end of the year. We really started gelling. We went on like a 5-game unbeaten streak right at the end of the year. It was fantastic stuff. So we've got Chris Solly now. We probably need a left back. If we're going to sell Nege for some money, we're obviously going to get rid of Stephen Henderson, I hope. And then we're going to try and get ourselves a left back and a backup striker in case, obviously, Vetekele leaves or gets injured. Same with George Tukadian as well. Wingers, we've sorted Roman, Callum Harriott, Johan Bell Goodmanson as the third string. And also, just realised earlier on as well that Reza Kashanian is actually back from loan with Kuwait. So for those of you who don't have a clue what I just said, Reza Kashanian, the only Charlton player to score in a FIFA World Cup, is coming back. So basically, that's a tragic love story. I fell in love with Gucci last year. Me and him were best mates, and he scored that one good goal against Leeds and did nothing else since. He wasn't really that good. He seemed to showboat a lot, was a very selfish player, and in the end got one goal and didn't really do much. But anyway, went off to the World Cup. So we were like, okay, right, he's going to do it. He's going to score for us. I put bets on every game he started for Iran for him to score, and he didn't. Then their final game, I think it was against, not Argentina, it was someone else, like the last team in their group. And I said, right, Reza Kashanian is going to score, and he did. And I put a fiver on it. I was in a takeaway, I put the bet on, I was just rushing it to get my little chicken burger after doing a voiceover for Motors TV. So I was in a rush, wanted to get back to the hotel, put the fiver on in the takeaway, legged it back to the hotel, found out he scored, so started getting very happy, looked at my phone, no money. I thought, alright, maybe it's the end of the game. So I looked at the end of the game, no money. I was like, okay, they're having a bit of banter now. Sky trying to banter me off. Looked at the bet that I actually put on. I put Gishanajan to score third. He only scored first. The end result was 1-0. Absolute nightmare. So I wasted about 25 quid that World Cup just on betting Gishanajan to score. And then you think it couldn't get any worse between me and Gucci. Well, it does. Oh, it does. Just the day that Charlton's new kit gets released, I thought, right, I'm going to order mine straight away because I can't wait for this. So go to place an order, put in Gishanajan on the back of the shirt. I was feeling it. Me and Retzer, we've got this. Even he has Retzer on the back of his because he doesn't really fit properly. But I was dedicated. So I went to order it, and I'm not even joking. I was on the website, I was putting my card details in, and my friend popped up to me with a Sky Sports news story. I click it. And he's gone on loan to Kuwait because he doesn't like the country. He doesn't like the country. Fancy that. Anyway, you can see that. Back off topic for a minute. Johnny Jackson, Player of the Year. I mean, Vetakele was the second top scorer in the league. We had Tukadian, he made a real impact as well. But for Jackson to still get that Player of the Year award is a real testament to not only his leadership ability, but to just how vital he is in the centre of midfield. The team of the year you saw there was very good, I think. It's definitely a formation I'll probably look into playing, to be brutally honest with you. But as you can see, the fixtures have been released. We've got Luton, second game of the season in the Capital One Cup first round. We start off with Cardiff, Brighton, Ipswich, Wolves, Bolton. So it gets a bit trickier there. Look, Aston Villa, Bristol City, always unpredictable after coming up last year. Nottingham Forest going to be a bit tricky. Yeovil, Middlesbrough. It's not overly challenging. There's no big teams set all in a line, but then again, it's a championship, and that can all change in a space of about the time it takes you to pull down your boxes before a wank. But back onto the story about Gishanajan, it was just a nightmare. It was an absolute nightmare. That I wanted his name on the back of my shirt. He goes off to Kuwait. It's a piss take. You think you've finally broken a boundary, and that me and him, we're going to be best friends. I'm going to go to the Valley with his shirt on. He's going to score. Not going to happen, is it? But he is back from loan on this, though. So that means that to our winger position, we've got Juan Roman, Callum Harriott, Goodmanson, and Retzer Gishanajan. So we should be fine, providing there's no injuries. Even if there is injuries, whether it's Roman, Harriott, we've still got two decent wingers. Gishanajan is good at what he does, providing we can train him right. And Goodmanson is solid. We've seen that already. Now, this man I've taken a long look at. Now, we noticed a lot of problems last year with Igor Vetakele getting injured quite a lot. It wasn't a long, substantial injury. They were just short bursts, like 2 to 3 weeks, 3 to 4 weeks, back to 2 to 3 weeks, which meant he was missing the big games, and we're relying on the likes of Tukadian. And then Goodmanson, he's not a striker to score, so it's not fair at all. We needed a striker to come in. We've got next to no transfer budget for whatever reason, because I probably blew it all at the start of last year. But I think, you know what? Let's just look at Standard Liege. I've got this guy, he's 18. The scout report's looking good. His stats are not that bad. If we can develop him over 2-3 seasons and maybe get promotion to the Premier League, get enough money to buy him, I reckon by the time he's 21, he can be a fully fledged Charlton player. So we bring in that man on loan, and that is one of only 2 signings I'm making before this season. So we've got ourselves a backup striker. The other position I mentioned was a left back, and we see this man, Mane, released on a free. He's 33 years old, so he is a bit past his sell-by date, but easily got, I reckon, another 2 to 3, 4 years maybe, which should be enough with that experience to get us to the Premier League. His stats are pretty solid. He's very much like an older version of Chris Stolley, and you compare him to the likes of Royce Wiggins or Morgan Fox, and he just about banters him off on every level ever, which is really good. You highlight all the roles, and all of them that are highlighted, bar maybe composure and maybe concentration as well. He's winning, which is great to see. So I reckon that now we've got that bit of depth as well. We tried this with Nacho last year to bring in a left back to try and set it out so you've got Solly dominating the right, a good left back, Gomez and Morrison in the middle, just absolutely spin kicking the shit out of people. We can have a monster back four, but Nacho let it all down. Nacho is basically the equivalent of taking your bird out to a really expensive restaurant, okay? We're not talking a Wetherspoons or a Wimpy. We're talking like a Gordon Ramsay restaurant. And you order the most expensive sundae on the menu, right? For you and her to share. Alright, so it's cost you like 300 quid. You're all dolled up. She's in a, you know, nice little dress. You're in a suit. And the waiter comes over with fucking Parkinson's, spills a sundae all over. Your hair gets messy. You're just there weeping because you've had such a good almost shag, and it's just been ripped from right underneath you. But moving on, we're finally getting rid of this lump. That's right, Stephen Henderson, the absolute melt that he is, the absolute flannel, absolute fucking pillowcase is going, because we've got Nick Pope back now. We've got two keepers. We've got Pope and Ribeiro. Pope's probably a little bit better, if not the exact same level as Stephen Henderson, and a lot younger. Ribeiro is sort of like the junior keeper that's going to be tutored by Pope, who's already fairly young anyway. So we can just free up a massive chunk of the wage budget. He's one of our top paid players, Stephen Henderson, and I don't know why. It's like going to a prostitute who's 87 stone, riddled with chlamydia, and has 7 teeth. You don't do it. You know you're going to get a shit product by the end of it. But yeah, Henderson goes to Nottingham Forest for a whopping 612. Why would you want to pay 600k? £500,000 for that. £500,000. Do they not think of spending that money on anything better? Like, I don't know, maybe some portaloos outside the stadium, or some pucker pies. Anything will do. Just get rid of it anyway. He's gone. So Nacho's gone, Henderson's gone. The two new guys into the team, alongside the renewal of Julian Desart, are Mane and McAllis, who's basically just going to be a backup to both Vetakele and Tikadian should there be any injuries. But thank you so much for tuning in. Episode 2 coming in just a couple of days, where we finally start the season against Cardiff. Can we start it the right way with a win as we travel to Wales? Let's find out. If you're new to the Kebab Nation, hit the subscribe button. If you like what you've seen, hit the like button. And I will see you